Today, let's talk about an interesting topic. How does organization determines the salary benchmarking for a role and how you could use these elements to actually plan your career so you can get higher salary. Hi, my name is Jason. If you want to know more about interview hacks and career advice, be sure to click the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you don't miss out anything. When companies do salary benchmarking, it boils down to a few elements. The first one is skill. And you always hear people talk about just polish your skill and the money will follow. Yes, this is very true to a certain extent because depth of the skill actually determines how much salary someone could get. The second will be, let you take a guess, position title. Wrong, not quite. What's more important here is actually the job description or the responsibility for the role. Now that you have a certain depth of skill that require for the job description actually determines how much combination of skill, the varietiness of skill you need in order to perform in the job. The more variety of skill required for the job, the more higher the salary for this position will go. And also includes the amount of authority, power in that role, the risk, significant risk that this role required to take while performing the job will also increase the salary range to a higher range. Third will be industry. A lot of people have neglected this point is that each industry actually has its own required set of skill that is a bit different from one industry to another. And this specific industry skill is very hard to teach. And if you were to change job within the same industry, it's easier for you to get certain job because you are familiar with the industry, how the industry works. And hence staying in the same industry actually warrants a higher salary. As the old Cantonese saying that stays true to this very day. 女人最怕嫁錯郎，男人最怕入錯行, which literally translates as women's worst fear is to marry the wrong companion and men's worst fear is to join the wrong industry. To a certain extent, this phrase actually stays true to this very day. Of course, not talk about the gender differences, but talking about the industry. The industry is a very important skill set here. And the last one is location, just differences between a major city and outskirts. Of course, if you talk about working in outskirts and you want to get slightly higher opportunities, you just move to a major city with a similar role. Usually, it will warrant you a slightly higher salary than working in outskirts. Of course, there are other elements like different countries, but those compromises of exchange rate, which will fluctuate, and tax laws and whatnot, so let's not take that into account. Do you agree with me when I say these four elements will actually affect how companies do salary benchmarking? Let me know down in the comments below. So the three more important points that I discussed just now: skills, job description, and industry. How you could make use of these to actually plan your career ahead. Let me explain how actually people in the organization determines a person's skill set level. Each and every company has a full year of financial cycle, 1 year. In the financial year, there are also peaks and lows in the business. Let's take a more practical example for a retail fashion company. People tend to usually buy more during the festive celebration season and it's easy for you to increase the sales. But after this celebration, even if you were to pull off campaigns on sales, it is still a bit harder to actually get people to buy. So that is the low for the company. So when you go through this one whole year cycle, you will understand how the whole cycle of high and lows work in the company. So you have done once. So you are considered familiar with the role. And when you go through this a second year, you will be considered doing this twice, which you should be much more far familiar and considered already expert in the role. And it adds on for the following year. So Jason, if that's the case, if I just stay on for the job, of course, I will automatically get my promotion and increment, right? Nah, not quite. Because by the time after second year, if you go into third year and you repeatedly doing the same role, no change at all, you consider doing it for a third time and people will regard you as expert in the role because you have done it 3 times now. And if you go anything further than 3 years, 4th year, 5th year, 6th year, and you still doing the same exactly thing, people will start have 1,000,001 questions in their head asking, what actually happened? Does this guy actually didn't polish any of the skill? Didn't learn anything much? Cannot do his job well? That could get him a promotion? And that where costs your career. Bonus tip, soft skill. From an engineer to become a project manager in the engineering field. Aside from having the technical skill, you also require to have a number of soft skills such as the presentation, the negotiation, the management skill to manage the project timeline, the ability to manage staffs, that is in that project or teammates in that project to lead that team. Those are other elements required for the role. So those also warrants, and you can see based on this, because of the amount of combination of skill required for the role, it actually creates the part that where people could get higher salary throughout different kind of roles. And so now you know these major secrets for salary benchmarking, so you could plan your career properly and polish your skills accordingly. There are 2 videos coming up right now, so if you want to support me, make sure you click and watch it, and I see you next time.